400 hands just today, and uh, I'll just start off by showing the top ones, most expensive ones.
Oh no, I want to go over your remember last time we checked your pre-flop stats and then
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's right.
I
That's
want
right.
to see your post-flop stats because I think that's where the leaks are.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Because
All right.
if you don't have a polished post-flop game, playing
Yep.
a 26 20 will destroy you because you're playing way too many hands, and then if your post-flop game is not as strong, you're basically putting yourself in a disadvantage constantly. That's why
Gotcha.
I think that's the reason why like your red line is suffering and then your blue line is not like going up.
Okay.
Okay, so here is prefab. Okay, so C post flop. Okay, what's our C bet percentage here?
So CBET is going to be 56.
56. Okay, 56. That's a little bit on the low side. So the C bet percentage is supposed to like the ideal percentage is around like between 60, maybe like 62 to 65, and
Okay.
then you're supposed to C bet a little more in position and C bet a little less out of position. So I'll say like in position you can do maybe like 75% versus out of position maybe around like 50.
Okay. And
Um,
this is for so these break down for flop, turn, river, and then in position, out of position in general a little bit.
Yes, yes. So your turn bet, your second barrel is actually
Yeah,
pretty
very
high,
good.
and then
Oh,
river is even higher. That's really not normal
okay.
because your river so basically you're triple barreling like so much. So the river bet percentage should be like much lower than flop, and then turn should be like a little lower than flop. So
Gotcha.
river should be like the lowest, and turn should be the second lowest, and then c bet should be like the highest.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
In position 73, out of position 64. I think the problem is that you're probably trying to bluff too much. Do you have a problem where people just call you down light?
Yeah, I was definitely bluffing too much over my
Okay.
20K hands. Yes.
Okay, so when you do this, especially when you play a lower stake, like people are less capable of folding. For example, if like the flop is like let's say ace seven deuce, and
Mm,
then like a brick on the turn and river, and then people just not gonna fold an ace in lower stakes. So
right.
even if you triple barrel, um, they'll still call you.
Yep.
And then you're doing it at the way like a percentage that's way too high. So you're spewing a lot.
Yes.
And then even though like it doesn't seem like a huge problem, but if you just fix this leak, like if you just tighten up your betting range a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna show significantly result because one hand you might lose like 10, 15, 20 buying, whatever it is that you bet on a river, if you times that by 100 or even like 1,000, that's a lot of money you could have potentially saved. And then I think another thing is I think that the session you played today, the VPI PMP pre-flop raise got a little bit lower, which is good.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
so this is ideal. So like 2021
Mm-hmm.
with the 18, 17, this is ideal stats. I'll say like until you make it to maybe 200 NL or like 500 NL.
Okay.
Like this is the perfect stats for like lower stake games, and then you shouldn't have any problem until even if you're at like 200 NL, 500 NL, like this stats is still like super solid.
Gotcha.
You can definitely be like a winning player having this kind of stats. The original stats you had, which was 26, 20,
Uh,
26, 23, something like that. That's good as well, but depending on what kind of game you want to play, right? So
right.
26, 23 is like loose aggressive player. Like you
Yes.
really have to know like what you're doing post flop. If you are not being careful and then playing a 26, 23 stats, you're gonna be like losing more than winning
Right.
because you're gonna put yourself in a post flop situation constantly, like way more often. And then if your post flop game is not as strong, then it's gonna basically expose yourself to potential spew, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
just be losing like a lot of money in unnecessary pot. Let's just take a look at the hands you play today, and then
Sure.
maybe you'll have better idea. Because last time I think we take a look at the all-time hands, so I just want to see like how you're playing recently, and then we go from there.
Okay. This one was just getting it in with Ace King, not too big a deal.
Okay.
I raise, get 3 bet, I 4 bet, and then he jams. So just call.
This is just standard.
And he had, I think,
Okay, here.
something, yeah, whatever.
Oh, that's just a
So,
cooler. Nothing you can do about it.
yep. So here we have King 10 suited small blind,
Yeah.
button raise,
Okay, you should
three
three
bet.
bet here if you
3 bet.
decide to play.
Yep.
Okay.
And he calls.
Sizing is pretty good too, around 4x.
Yep.
Okay.
I like the 4x out of position and 3x in position, like
Yes.
click pot
Um,
button.
sometimes I'll do it a little, even a little more. So if it's small blind versus button, I'll do like 5x out of
Gotcha.
position.
Yeah.
Like three betting, it can be a little more. So when you're
Yep.
in position, you can
Blind
go
versus
like
blind.
close to 4.
Yeah. Blind versus blind. I like to do 4x.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then four betting, you can lower your sizing down a little bit. So in position, you can do like 2.2, 2.3, and then out of position, you can do like 3x.
That's
But
slightly more than a min click in
yeah,
position.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's what you do here. Checking is fine. Betting is probably better. Okay, small bet.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
good.
Small
That's good.
bet.
That's good.
Third. He min clicks.
He mid raised.
Yeah.
Definitely not voting here.
Yep.
Probably just call.
So we just call.
Yeah. Okay.
And flush completes
Okay.
before we actually check it over, and he goes half pot,
Okay.
and
Uh,
we just
like you can still call here. He has a lot of I mean,
and
voting is fine.
actually I'll blow this up so you can see his stats a bit better if it makes a difference.
Oh, he's
Because
super tight. Okay, so he's like 14 and 6. Okay, this is totally fine to just fold the turn.
gotcha.
So did you did you check fold?
Yep, just check fold,
Okay, that's good.
and that's the end of that. So next hand, ace 10.
Yeah.
We open low jack. This is
This is under the gun
kind
though,
of
right?
loose open. Yeah, it's a loose open for 6 max.
It's fine. You can mix up ace 10 offsuit as long as you're not doing like all the time.
Right,
Like
right.
sometimes opening ace 10 offsuit is fine.
Okay. Hijack, cold calls, and then button brings them along.
Okay.
So we're multi-way, and I just check it through, and then
You should never check here. You should
oh,
this should always be a bet. Because
gotcha.
you don't want to give a free card. You're against two players, and then the guy who's acting behind you can easily have like queen jack, king jack. You don't want to give him a free card, and then the guy in the blind, like basically never has anything. I'll say he could have like maybe 4-6, 4-5, or like 10-9, 10-8, those kind of hands. You just need to bet. Like you cannot afford checking this. You flop top two, top pair, top kicker. You have to bet here.
Okay.
Um, like small bet will work. Like it doesn't has to be big, but you have to bet because you cannot. Okay, so as played, you checked, and then he bet half pot.
Yeah, somebody bet 3/4,
Yeah.
um, and it goes call, call, call.
You have to raise here. You cannot just call because so here's the thing. You're playing way too passively. Post flop, like you have top pair, top kicker here. Like what are you losing to? Like in
Yeah,
your
well,
mind, what are you losing to?
yeah, like in my mind, I'm just trying to not go broke with one pair in a multi-way pot. I'm thinking people are calling with especially deuces and fours, and so
Okay,
I'm looking out for if on turn cards that might not be good for us. Like people can improve to 2 pair type hands.
okay.
So like I'm not really in a rush to build a pot on the flop, and then especially as the runs out, I'm just more so just trying to bluff catch.
Okay,
Um,
so here's the thing. Sometimes when you try to save a little bit of money or save your stacks by playing passively, you ended up losing your stack or losing way more money than you should.
right.
By playing aggressively, you actually save money.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so the reason why is because if you play aggressively, right, and people come over the top, like they have to. So when you bet here, right, when you see bet here, you're saying you have at least like a 10. Like a
Sure.
king 10, like you raise under the gun, right? At least like king 10,
Right.
uh, maybe minimum queen 10, and you have all the jacks, all the queens, all the aces, all the kings,
Mm-hmm.
even like pocket tens. So there's like your range is way ahead of them. Like this board doesn't connect that well against their calling range because under the gun plus one, if he had like jacks plus, he's three betting you, right?
Right. Right.
So if he just cold call, most of the time he has either like ace X or like small pocket pairs, right? Or like mid pocket pair. I don't even
Right.
think he's calling small pocket pair. I'm not sure like how those how the players in this level plays. Maybe people in this level they'll call with like pocket deuces and pocket fours, but that's definitely not a winning play in a long run. So like the under the gun plus one has a lot of like jack 10 queen 10 that if you by checking then you're just losing like one street of value,
Mm.
and
Mm.
then you kind of give your initiative away. So when you check here basically you're saying you have ace king ace queen, right? So
Okay.
your hand's pretty faced up, and then when you start playing against the better players that'll put you in a lot of tough spot because they'll just automatically put you on ace king and ace queen,
Mm.
and then you'll get bluff off your hands a lot even though you call, let's say what the turn is.
Okay. Turn king.
Right. So you'll get bluff out a lot because you never have like top of the range, right? You're betting any aces, any kings, any queens, any jacks, any ace 10, king 10. You should be betting. When you check, like you just don't have those hands anymore,
I see.
and then that'll just put you in a tougher spot. Okay, so let's see how it plays out.
And now,
Donk bet.
yeah, now player one dot bets
Okay.
and just flat again, and now we're heads up.
So original better folded. Okay.
The original better folds. Yep.
Yeah, so he could have like any type of air, and then he was just trying to steal on the flop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
and then
285 and he bets queen.
I'll think he has king 10 here,
Yeah.
or a set.
You say
Probably.
you don't think.
I think he has king 10 or a set
Oh, you
here.
do think. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your hand's almost like never good here,
Yeah.
facing this line.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
two pair like 4 5 or something, but I don't think 4 5 bet the turn. So most likely it's king 10
Yeah.
or pocket fours or something. And then did you call?
We fold.
Oh, did you fold? Okay. Um,
Yeah. So like, I mean, yeah, I agree. I probably definitely should have raised flop there with top pair, top kicker, multi way. I,
yeah, like first of all, checking there is definitely not good. You want value for top pair top kicker, especially on the dry board. I mean, a lot of pocket sevens, pocket eights gonna call you, and then you cannot really be greedy with just pair 10. Let's say the king can on the turn, and then you're
yes.
supposed to barrel, right? And then all the pocket seven, pocket eights will fold, and then you just win the pot 100% of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no variance. You just pick up the pot, which is nice. And if they come over the top on the turn, then you can feel pretty comfortable giving just folding your hands because
Right.
king hits your range super hard. If they're raising on 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 on, on the king that hit your range super hard, then
Right.
that's saying a lot. Minimum they
Yeah.
have like
People
they
polarize.
have to, yeah, they have to have like king 10, and then this is like a rainbow board. I don't think people might. I guess he could have like queen jack of diamond or like 10x of diamond, but still like
Mm.
it's better that you be the aggressor, and then um, it's just easier to figure out what other people have when you're actually betting
Yeah.
versus you just like playing passively, like you have no idea where you are. When you have the best hand, you lose value, and when you don't have the best hand, you lose more money than you should.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so let's see the next one.
Okay. Next one. Ace king.
Hmm.
I actually forget how this one turns out. So
Right,
ratings under the
three
gun.
x. Okay,
We three
three
bet
bet. Yeah,
small blind at 4x.
yeah.
We calls
Okay,
and actually kind of short stacked here. We c bet, I guess. Yep, for
you can
one.
go for a small c bet,
Yep,
and
small
then
c. He calls again, and here I think we can.
you
Yeah.
can barrel this turn actually, because you pick up extra equity.
Okay.
And then a lot of time, I mean, he could have a queen, but he could also be calling with like pocket tens, pocket nines, even jacks, eights.
Gotcha.
Those are folding to a second barrel. If you just like if it turns like a seven or something or like six, then or you pair the board like another five or deuce, then you can it's okay to give up because they're just never folding anything.
Gotcha.
But on this turn, you can actually barrel and then barrel off on the river if you decide to do it. When you barrel here, like you almost have to barrel the river. If you just barrel the turn and then
Yeah.
give up on the
Right.
river, it's not plus EV. So if
Right.
you want to barrel the turn, then you barrel the river, right? Um, Checking is definitely fine as well. So did you go for a check?
Yes. We
Okay.
check, and it looks like he bets yeah like 75% pot. Right.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. You're just folding here. I mean, he would do this with sevens, and then instead of winning the pot, when you check, you're basically losing the pot. Of course, he could have a queen as well, but I would rather
Mm,
be aggressive. I would rather be the aggressor and then fold than just check folding, not knowing we might be bluffed or not, or we might be you know he could be doing this. He could be floating the flop.
mm,
But
mm.
maybe on this level, people don't do that. So it's always okay to take a safer line when you're playing smaller
Right.
because people are just less likely to make a move. So I'm perfectly okay with the way you play this hand.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
then,
and then like I said before, like in the beginning when I was like losing a lot at showdown and getting called a lot, like I
hmm
would probably like definitely like barrel this turn card.
hmm
Um, but I mean, even this guy, his flop fold versus c bet is 67. So when I get called here, I'm more inclined to fold, especially since he's short stacked.
okay.
He's calling with with one pair type hands, and he's probably just not going to fold a pair for
That makes sense. He doesn't seem like a regular. If you're playing against a regular, it's totally okay to just three barrel bluff your stack, and then it might actually be beneficial for you in the long run because next time you have aces play the same way, and then you'll get paid off.
gotcha.
Versus if you just never second barrel, triple barrel bluff, people are just gonna notice it, and then when you actually have the good hands, they're not gonna pay you off.
Right, right.
So against regulars, sometimes it's okay to stack off bluffing, and then it gets caught. It's fine, because in the long run, you might make more money that way.
Interesting.
Okay, let's go for the next one. Those are kind of like smaller pot. Do you have like bigger ones?
No, so
Oh, so
yeah,
this session you went pretty smooth.
yeah. That was just this session, kind of short session, and
Okay,
didn't have too many
that's
big
fine.
moves.
That's fine.
So we open pocket nines, get a cold call on the button, cold call small
Is
blind.
this your standard sizing? Just almost 3x?
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Just my
Um,
student open from every position.
Okay,
Is
so you can probably try to lower it a little bit, maybe like 2.5.
okay to like 12.
Yeah, like 12. 12 is fine. 2.5 is normally better because nowadays like people just don't open 3x because you have less room to play even though like it doesn't seem that much 2.x versus 3x. But when people start 3 betting and then you start 4 betting bluff and then it actually accumulates. So using a smaller size basically gonna achieve the same thing,
Gotcha.
but it give you more playability
I see.
post flop. Okay, anyways, let's see what happened.
Yeah.
So just
Um,
interesting. So the button cold call and then small blind cold call. Okay.
yes. So we're multi-way again. Uh, in the small blind donks.
Race.
And
Okay.
so we raise. Yep,
Okay.
we actually do raise this time.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody calls.
Wow. Wow.
uh,
Okay.
so turn is a 10.
It
And I think this
shouldn't
one,
change much.
yeah, I think this one checks.
You should bet like $2. Ooh.
Oh, wow. So we should really pound the pot
Yeah,
here.
no, yeah, you should bet like at least close to 70% the pot because 10 doesn't change anything. They could have like 5 6. They could have like big blind could have like 3 5 or 5. Most likely 5 6,
Mm,
A5, A6, those kind of gotcha type of
okay.
hands. So
Okay.
you definitely need to bet here because like what combination of tens that help it outside of 10 7. So the button is not gonna have any of that, right? So the
Uh,
button almost like he could have like sixes, pocket fives, pocket sixes, or even pocket eights,
okay.
A7 maybe, like some kind of 7x. But the small blind, like I mean the small blind is the only one who can have like 10 7. I think 10 deuce 10 4 are folding.
Hmm.
So 10 is not really like that bad of a card for you.
No ace ten of clubs, king ten of clubs, queen ten of clubs, jack ten of clubs, ace ten of clubs.
Those hand probably wouldn't call the flop.
Hmm.
Since you raised the flop, right?
Yes, we did raise the
So
flop.
so no, it's very unlikely.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're supposed to bet here, and then what happened? You checked, and then
Yes, we check and button position
like he
bets.
bet like 30%. It's like super
Uh,
weak. I'll even consider check raising here.
and actually, we fold here.
Yeah, so you shouldn't. I think you have the best hand here very often.
Hmm, interesting.
So so what do you think he has here?
Well, I was just thinking that people don't bluff multi, and so yeah, you're seeing this kind of pattern in my multi-way pots is that I just play very passively, um, and essentially just kind of bluff catch, and I'm
Okay,
thinking, yeah,
so here's the thing. He could be doing this with 6-5. He could do this with a6, a5.
yeah,
He can do this with any 7x.
okay,
I actually think he has a 7 here. Uh,
mm,
I don't think a draw would bet this little. I think he has like a 7, maybe like a7 or something, maybe 7-6 or something. But this sizing just tells me that he has a 7.
I see,
So yeah, like pots like this, like you're losing like just playing too passively.
I see, I see. Mm.
You shouldn't be afraid of the 10.
Yeah,
That's so you should barrel here, and then if it gets raised, then you fold.
I
But
see.
but at least you know that people has you. And
Right,
then and
right.
then any worse hand is probably gonna fold. I think 7 might call. So you bet like $2. He's probably gonna call with the 7. And then on the river you can basically check. I think you'll go like check depending on what it is.
So when we barrel this, when we choose 75%, like $2 here, two into like three or something, or yeah,
Correct. Because small blind almost never has anything strong, and then button doesn't have anything strong because he cold call your race. If he has something strong, I mean, obviously he can always have like sets here, right? But you can always playing, um, with that in the back of your mind, thinking that people have a set. Because
mm,
sometimes it's just like when you have aces, people flop a set, you just have to lose your stack. It's no big deal. But when you start playing like really cautious, you're losing too much value when you have the best hand.
I see.
And then sometimes it's gonna happen when you have aces and kings, and then like a low flop like this, people are gonna flop a set on you. But what can you do? I mean, just lose the stack. But you cannot just every time you have aces and then you see this flop and then let's say you raise and then he calls, you just automatically assume that he has a set because he could have something else too.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so let's see the next one, and then maybe we take a look at the one that you won.
Okay. Got ace queen here. Open low jack.
Okay,
Stand size. Small blind call, and we hit ace.
okay.
Small blind donk bets into us, and we just call.
I'll raise here, especially with the queen of diamond.
Mm, okay. King of clubs on turn.
Okay, let's go back to the flop. What do you think he's dunking with?
Uh, so like I mean, just knowing the pool, it's like a lot of top pair, top. I mean, people really like to donk bet their like really good top pair type hands,
Hmm.
um, and also their like front door flush draws.
Okay,
Uh,
so if he's betting with the top pair, like it's basically ace jack, ace nine, you beat all of this. He doesn't have ace king here. He's three betting pretty flat with ace king, but he's a really passive player. But doesn't matter. I don't think he has ace king here.
okay,
So ace jack, ace nine, you dominate that, and then if it's any type of draw, you still you're still having the best hand. So you should raise and then to charge in.
okay,
So by flat calling, it just so when you flat call a dunk pad, like especially when you have a good hand and then you actually connect pretty well, and then by flatting, you're just giving your opponent is signaled that you don't have a strong hand.
Hmm.
And then you
Yeah,
don't want that. You want to be the one always have the initiative.
I
So
see.
so by just calling, you give that initiative away, and then
And
you're
so
you're
it
not
looks
punishing his dunk betting range because I it's very hard to balance dunk betting range.
right.
So I'll always just raise here,
I
because
see.
he could be doing this like king jack of diamonds maybe, like he could be doing this like a lot of like combo draw or something like that. But by
Okay.
just calling, you have no idea what he has, right?
Right.
So that's
And so the guy has like really high VPIP, really high donk bet, 36 donk bet, and
then you
so
should totally punish this guy. Like I'll even raise to 4x.
gosh, does it make sense that if I think that he's also like potentially bluffing, that I want to just let him continue to barrel off?
Maybe,
Um,
but not on this board. Because this board is very dangerous. It has a lot of straight draw potential, like a9, a lot of gasha, a lot of flush draws. You just
mm,
get, and you only have top pairs. If it's like ace seven deuce, two diamonds, then yeah, you can make a case for that because only draw out there is the flush draw, and then
I,
when it gets here, it's very easy to spot it, right? But this board has a lot of draws, right? He can have 6-8, he can have 9-6, he can have 9-8, he
mm,
can have 9 jack, jack
right,
8,
right, right.
king jack, queen jack, like a lot of like just a lot of draw. It's a super draw heavy board, and then it's two diamonds out there as well. So you should definitely raise to find out where you are. If he's drawing, he's definitely have to pay for it. But anyways, as play, like let's see a turn.
Okay. Um, so king clubs on the turn card.
Okay. Oh, queen jack gets there. He
Yes,
checks.
he checks, and I actually I bet kind of big here. I think.
Okay. There's no problem with that.
Okay. It's
As
funny. I really did not.
as played, there's not too much problem.
Okay.
So
So we bet 2/3. He just calls,
okay,
and 8 on the river,
check check.
and yep, check check. And he had the ace king.
Oh wow.
Kind of funny enough. So yeah, really, really super passive player. He's not three betting anything. VPIP PFR three bet, and so, but he just donks like so much. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's it's just weird. I mean,
Okay, so here's the thing. If you just raise the flop, right, he's gonna call, right?
sure,
That's just assume that he raised the flop and he's gonna call. And then on the
sure.
turn, he's probably gonna check. And then you check behind.
Yes,
And then on the river, you're putting a value bet. And then you call, right?
probably.
Yeah, so even though you're losing here, like he'll probably do the same with ace jack. He'll do the same with ace nine.
Hmm. I see. I see.
So there's still a lot of hands that you can get value from, even though like
Right.
here you're
Right.
losing. But other time, like I think more often than not, you have the best hand here.
Gotcha.
So you always have to like just play the frequency. Don't don't
Right.
don't change the way you play because you're losing here. It doesn't mean that when you're losing here, you play something wrong, right?
Hmm.
Maybe like the next 5 times you have the best hand.
Right. Right.
So don't think like that. Okay, let's see a few hands that you won't.
Okay. Let's see some hands that I won. Okay. All right. Ace King of Spades. Bojack opens. Min raise. We three bet to 40.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. And then he,
He actually four bets. And I think we jam. Yeah, we just
uh,
jam. And
jamming is
yeah,
fine.
yeah, he just has ace queen. So
Wow.
uh, not a big deal.
This thing a higher stakes. Like people would never have ace queen there.
Yeah. Um,
But jamming has no problem though.
so king queen suited. We open low jack, kind of short-handed. Button three bets, and we just flat.
Okay.
Flop a king, and I also have some history with this guy. I know that he's also very aggressive post flop, and so yeah, like players who like this is just kind of like a read on the pool, I guess.
Right.
Is that they tend to be pretty aggressive. They tend to bluff. Surprisingly, like these players actually kind of know how to bluff.
Hmm.
Um, So I like yeah, I just like if they have the initiative, um, then I just like to just call down essentially with strong-ish type hands like this. And so we check it over, and he bets, and we call.
Hmm.
Turn five of clubs, check. He bets a little under half pot this time, and we just call again. We're also kind of deep too.
Okay.
Um, and five of hearts, check once more, and then he actually all ins, and we make the
You have to
call.
call.
Yeah, we just make the call. And he had Jack 10 of diamonds.
Okay. Okay. So here, um, I don't really like just calling a three bet out of position as under the gun racer with king queen suited. Like I'll probably lean more towards four bet or
Right,
fold. It's just me, because I think
right.
queen queen suited. So he three bet on the button against under the gun. His range just dominates you quite
Yeah,
often, right? So it's either like he has a complete like like a hand like Jack 10 suited, or he has like a hand like Ace Queen Ace King,
yeah,
or a
exactly.
Queen's Plus just dominates you super hard. So actually pre-flop, I'll like if I decide to play, I'll probably go for four bet.
Yes.
It just makes your life easier. I mean, calling here is like there's really no good flop for you. Like he could easily have Ace King here. I mean, as played, he could have Ace King here,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you basically just get stacked, right?
Right.
So, so here's another example of how playing more aggressively might actually save you money. I don't mind folding pre-flop too as well, because normally when people three bet you, even though he has button, like if the three bets from the blinds,
Right, then it's very, very tight
yeah, that pretty much they dominate you like
every time. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much all the time. But if it's on from the button, I'll probably just go ahead and do the four bet. I mean,
Okay.
depending on where the three bet is coming from.
Right.
But calling isn't like that bad. You just have to play cautiously. Like in this, like you just did you snap call here, or
Oh, say again?
did you snap call here?
No, I think I took a
Cause you're only beating a bluff here.
right, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I thought about it, but I got a tag on this guy because like I've seen him make moves. I've seen him get it in kind of light sometimes.
Right.
So I know he's like so yeah. I just kind of just had like a read on the guy. Um, uh,
Okay.
but
He seems like a solid player though, pulling
yeah,
this move.
yeah, yeah.
With two flush draw there. I mean, as played, I'll probably check raise the flop. I
Okay.
mean, cause it's gonna be so he can have a lot of like queens, jacks here. That's gonna call a check raise and then fold to a bet on the turn.
Mm,
So you still get value. I mean,
okay.
if you just passively check calling, I'll probably assume you're gonna run into like a lot of better hands in this situation. When he
Yes.
barrel three streets and then as a three better versus under the gun open,
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
I feel like you're losing here on the river. When he bet three streets, I feel like you're losing on the river more often than winning,
I agree. I
right?
agree. Like yeah.
So so the ideal play is probably just four bet pre, or
Yeah.
at least you have to like check raise on the flop, if not the turn.
And
I don't mind check jamming the turn.
okay. Yeah,
So
and I was thinking about four betting, and I was yeah, and actually yeah, real time. I was thinking about four betting and folding to a jam with this hand.
yes,
Um, and it's just that I just knew the guy like is capable of jamming light, and I just kind of wanted if I and I
the,
just
no, he's not gonna jam a four bet from under the gun light. That if he does that, then he's crazy. Right. Right, you can't just don't assume how people might potentially play against you because you don't know them, right?
sure, sure,
But yeah, this is a hand where I feel like it could be losing more than winning
okay,
when he barrel three streets like this.
definitely,
But good thing that this time it worked out for you. But you have to be careful because even though you're winning here, like it doesn't mean that it's a plus EV play. I mean, in
right,
long run it could be negative. Okay, let's see the next one.
okay,
I think I know like how you should fix a little bit of your game, and then you should be able to see pretty good results. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, and then
Gotcha.
you can let me know like how it goes.
Awesome.
So pocket
Uh,
eights.
pocket eights. Open button. Hit three bet from the small blind. Do I
Okay.
just
Call. Yeah.
I just called you?
Most of the time you should call. Like sometimes you can mix in a four bet, but calling is
Yeah, and
probably
this
better.
guy is also like kind of like another solid rig.
That's fine. Doesn't change the. So here's the thing. You shouldn't change the way you play because of different type of play. Like I don't look at stats that much. I would rather like just play my games and then have people adjust it to me versus I have to adjust first. Against other people.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a super balanced game, like you don't have to worry about like how your opponents play, right? You just play a range and then you play a balanced game. Like it's not exploitable. Like if you're playing a balanced solid game like GTO style, you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about how other people are playing, right? If
Mm,
you're doing your job and then you're really balancing your range, then they have to be the one who's trying to figure you out instead of you trying to figure them out.
gotcha.
So just don't worry about like the stats are good to have. Like I almost never look at stats too. In terms of making decisions, I don't look at stats because stats can sometimes be misleading.
Mm,
Um, of course, I look at stats where it's like a 52-0 type of station or whale. Of course,
yeah.
then you notice that. But that's what I use the HUD for. It's not for
Yeah.
like looking at all the detail stats because that can be confusing as well. So
Yeah.
let's see what happened.
Okay. Oh, he donks at us.
Oh no, he three bet. So he just do like a small C bet.
Oh yeah, yes, gotcha. He
So he
three
do a
bet.
small C bet.
Small three bet.
I'll raise here
Gotcha.
because so here when he bets, right, what can he have? He has ace king, ace queen,
Yep.
ace jack, all the ace x suited ace,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then or he has pocket nines and pocket nines and better.
And yep. Yep.
So you should totally put in a raise here, I think, just to find out where you are. By flat calling, it's kind of like what turn can be good for your hands.
Yeah.
Like pretty
Yeah.
much not
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
many, right?
Yeah. You gotta avoid half the deck basically in terms of overcards. Yeah.
So let's say the term comes like a jack, and then he barrel like over the pot. You just have to fold,
Mm,
right? Which
yeah. Yeah.
which is a lot of people using that sizing. So I personally using that size. So I'll small c bet the flop, and then if it gets called, right, and then the pot will be like 250,
Hmm.
and then on the turn, let's say if it's queen or jack, like jack, queen, king, ace, I'll just barrel like 3.25, and then what do? You basically have to fold.
Gotcha.
So since like this is a really good flop for pocket eights, like when you call three bet in position with pocket eights, this is the like one of the best flop you can hope for, right? And
Right.
then and then when you have this kind of flop, you have to raise.
Mm,
Otherwise, like what are we calling for? Just calling to hit the set? Then we might as well just not play post flop. You know,
nice.
if you see the flop like this and then you don't play aggressively and then trying to go for value, then you probably shouldn't even play, which is fine too. I mean, folding pre-flop is okay as well.
Mm,
If you play this way post-flop, like on 337 board, Rambo board with pocket ace,
hmm.
then it might be better to just fold, and then there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, we're still so every decision is about like if this is a plus EV or negative EV in a long run, right?
Gotcha.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
folding is actually fine. If you don't play aggressively on this type of board, then it's probably better for you to just fold
Yeah.
pre-flop. Okay, so let's see how it is. So let's see a turn.
Like really quick question though, like so like the idea behind raising here is it just necessarily because the EV of raising is just greater than the EV of calling, or
Yeah,
is
so
it?
so when you raise, you have full equity, right? There's a good chance that he just folded because he could see bet here with like anything. Like he was small see bet here with any two cards.
Mm,
So you're way ahead of his range. You're only losing to nice plus, and then he has a lot of overcards. Like he can have like any two cards here basically. Because in
mm,
small blind he can like three bet 10-9 suited,
gotcha.
right? And
Yes.
and then by raising, you just deny his equity.
Right. Right.
So even 10 9, let's say he had 10 9 of hearts, right? He
Right.
still has like 25% equity against you. But if you just raise, you deny all that equity, and then that 25 becomes zero.
Mm.
All right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
But
Yes.
but by just calling, what if he hit a 10 or 9, or he pick up extra equity? Let's say like a heart on the turn. Let's say like jack of heart on the turn. So he has
Hmm.
overcards, got shot, and flush draws. And then
Right.
now he has even more equity, and then he's gonna barrel, and then you might have to fold your hands. You see what I mean? Like by playing passively, like instead of just just deny his equity, like he might pick up extra equity and then barrel you off your hands. And then when you have the best hand, it's very difficult for you to know like how to proceed, right? If you call the turn, what if you barrel the river?
Right. Right. Yeah. You probably
It,
gotta.
it's just gonna put you in a tough spot.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see the turn.
Okay. Turn five.
That's actually one of the better turn for you.
Exactly. Turns. He barrels again
Uh,
for like half
like
pot,
half pot,
pot,
yeah,
and we just make the call again.
yeah. I don't. I'm not a big fan of calling. I'm that's totally. If not, if I'm not raising the flop, I'm raising the turn for sure.
Gotcha.
Like you have to like show, you have to show that you have something, So when you raise, you can have pocket sevens,
Yeah.
you can have ace sevens,
Yeah.
you can have ace three for
Sure.
trips.
Sure. Sure.
Like he doesn't know what you have,
Right.
right? You have those hands way more than he does.
Mm.
Okay, so you just call. Okay, let's see a river.
And where we hit it, we hit a,
Okay, sweet, easy
and he
game.
just
He
jams in.
overbet. He overjam.
He just jams.
Oh, you only have $3 though,
Yeah, I know, right? So
so it's
it
easy
doesn't
call.
matter.
He probably had you before though. He had pocket sixes.
He was
Okay.
pocket sixes the whole time.
Okay. So let's say his hand was faced up, right? If you just raised the flop, what would he do?
He fold.
He might call, right?
Oh, I
This
thought he would. Yeah, I thought that if I raised flop that he might have folded this hand. Actually.
he might have fold, but he could also there's a chance that he might call, right? Because
Okay.
this is 7-3-3 board. Like what do you have? You're wrapping a seven. That's it, right? He might think that you're doing it just to make a move or something. Because a lot of times when he do a small c bet, he would think that you think he has two overcards or like ace X, right? So
Right.
you're
Right.
just raising him off one of
Sure.
those ace high hands. So he might call, right? So you raise the flop, he'll call, and then he'll check the turn, and then you just barrel, and then he'll most likely fold the turn, or he might call, right?
Sure.
Because he pick an extra gut shot, and then on the river, if it's not an eight, you check behind, and then you win all the money, right?
Right.
And then if you hit an A, you can, of course, this hand you're not gonna make as much money because he was making a move, but you can't always expect that, right?
Right.
So do you see the benefit of raising here?
Yeah. So yeah, like it's kind of like that last hand. Like it's just the EV of raising is just better than the EV
Yes,
of calling.
correct. Because
Over the long term of, yeah
you have
of
full equity,
yeah.
and then against better hands,
Hmm.
even like if he had like, I don't think he'll be sweating with aces. I mean, even if he has over pocket pair, what is he gonna do? You have position. You're
Mm.
racing on the flop. What is he gonna do? He's gonna three
You're gonna
bet
really
you,
right. Yeah.
and then you can fold, right? If he three bets you, can fold, right? And then he might just call. And then on the turn, you have the full control of the pot.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
then
Yeah.
you just do like a blocker bet on the turn. And then what does he do with queens? He probably just still call. And then check the river. I mean, you don't lose that much versus just letting him bet you three streets, and
Right.
then you lose more money that way. At the
Right.
same time, you have no full equity because you're just calling, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. Next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think I'm like a lot of these hands probably like a lot of my thought process when going through this, when I'm making decisions, like
Mm,
I'm still kind of learning
yeah,
how like GTO works and stuff.
yeah,
Like I'm still learning how to think in terms of which action over the long term is probably more EV, and
yeah,
so I'm defaulting back to like really basic level, which was essentially just we bet
So
to get worse to call and better to fold. And
right.
if I don't think that I can get like worse to call or better to fold, then I just call as a bluff catch because I don't want to blow them off, stop them from bluffing. Um,
Right, but you have to understand, like people in the stakes, they just don't bluff that much. I mean,
okay,
they don't bluff that much.
sure.
Let's see this one.
Okay. So yeah,
Ace is
basic
on button,
button call. Q7 deuce.
small
We
c bet.
nine,
That's good.
and he actually check raises us. We
Okay.
call.
Yeah, out.
Uh, turn. He barrels. This one we raise.
So okay, so let's go back to the flop.
Sure.
When you get check raised, um, like what do you know why you just call here, or you just always calling, or
Yeah. So I mean, like versus yeah. So like on this board, what I'm thinking is he's probably got like nut flush draws, two pair plus, and that's basically it.
yeah,
Uh,
because you're on block diamonds.
right. Right.
That's why it's more likely you can call more often and then just proceed the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you have like ace of diamonds, when he check raise here, it's
And it's more
more
weighted
more
towards
it's more likely that he might have a set
right. Right.
because it's just people just likes to check raise bluff with the not flush draw.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, okay, let's call no, go to the turn.
And so we call,
Turn the
and
nuts, nice,
yep, and
easy
he
game.
bets at us. Yep, and we raise a little under 3x or about 3x,
Right.
and he actually three bets,
Oh wow.
and so we just rip. We
Yeah,
we just
rip.
get yeah,
Is it Salver
and
set?
he folds,
Oh,
and
he
he just
folds.
yeah,
That's
and
really weird. I was expecting to call there. Because if he
yeah,
had like any kind of flush draw or combo draw, he should be calling.
yeah. It's I get the feeling that he just made like a big fold. He's probably like just another nit over here.
Uh, but what?
I don't know.
His line just doesn't make sense. He probably just have like King X, but why like putting a three bet?
I don't. It's weird.
Okay,
Okay,
let's see one last one and then
sure. And so ace 10 suited, open hijack, shorthanded, button calls. Oh, wait, no. Small blind lips.
do
Small
you do
blind
you
lips.
normally play Blizz or you play regular table?
These are all regular tables.
Okay, got it. So he
So
just
small,
limps.
yep, small
I'll
blind limp.
I'll raise to
I
4x.
raise
Good
4x. Yep,
job.
raise 4x. He calls, top. He
Definitely
bets.
raising.
we
Yeah,
for like the same reason as always.
so yeah, your problem post flop is that you're playing way too passively, especially as aggressor. Like
Yeah,
as pre flop
I think that
aggressor.
yeah, that they do a bluff. Like, I mean, you're probably right that they don't bluff enough in general, and like I just probably just see my HUD and the reason like I just look at their donk bet, and if it's like so like high, I just think, oh well, the guy's full of shit. I'm just gonna let him give me all his money, and
Yeah, but the thing is that you don't have aces here. You have a pair 10. I mean, he can be doing this with like queen jack of like diamonds.
right. So we need
And it,
protection.
yeah, and then you give him really good equity
Yeah,
to to
yeah.
to continue either barreling or like yeah, when you have position, you just have to use it. Like if you just flat calling here, like you're giving your position away, right?
So maybe you can beat this thought out of my head then, because I guess for some reason, like I'm hanging on to the idea that raising, if you think that somebody is bluffing you, only just helps them play perfect against you because they just fold their bluff and they call with
Correct,
in their
correct.
hand.
But how do you know they're bluffing you?
Because I'm sitting here with top against a guy with a 38% donk
Yeah,
bet.
can he have like pocket sixes here?
Uh, yeah, he could. Sure. He could have pocket sixes. Um, I mean, he could. Yeah, he could have pocket sixes. He could have pocket sevens. He could have pocket eights. He could have an inferior pair.
Yeah, he can have 10-9 here. He can have
Yeah.
Jack 10 here. He can
Yes.
have Queen Jack here, right?
you could totally have an inferior 10. Yep, totally,
and then you're
totally.
just losing value against those hands that you're supposed to be raising, and then he'll call.
Okay,
And
okay.
it,
So you're saying that the
so you
yeah,
cannot just automatically assume that people are bluffing you when they dunk bet,
okay.
because it's very hard to balance dunk betting range, right?
Hmm.
So they can be dunk betting with like anything. They can even be dunk betting with like 7-6 off here
Okay,
with a gasha.
okay.
Why are you not punishing that?
Hmm.
Right? Okay, so from his eyes, you raise under the gun, and then this is a small flop. He just assume you have like two big cards, right?
Sure,
And then he just feel like he can dunk back you off your big cards,
sure.
right?
Hmm.
So let me just put it this way: if you have aces here facing this dunk bet, what would you do?
Um.
It's okay if you
I
think
mean,
you're calling, then
yeah,
you just
my typical instinct would probably be to call.
okay. So
Uh,
so you have jacks here, you call.
yeah, yeah. Against donk bets, I just let them give me. I'll just let them give me all the money. A lot of times, is I just let them give me all the money.
Okay,
Um, yeah.
cause your range is like aces, kings, ace
Okay.
king,
Yeah.
jacks.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing, if you're calling with all the above,
Mm,
then I guess it makes sense. But I,
mm,
I, I I just I'm not a big fan of just giving away your position. So when you flat calling here, like your range is super capped.
sure.
You're saying you have ace high,
Gotcha,
or you're saying you have pocket sevens or pocket sixes.
gotcha. So you're saying that it would be
Okay, so
more
basically the problem
easier
of
to play balance if we're raising these donk bets versus if we're calling down. You're saying like
yes,
if we're calling down, we have to make sure that we're doing it with like all of our strong hands so that we're not unbalanced in the
yes,
next foot.
yes,
Got
and then the problem of calling is you have zero full equity.
right, right,
Like when you're calling, like you always have to have a hand that beats him in order to win the pot, right?
right.
If you put in a raise, you can just pick up the pot right here, and then it's 100%.
Sure.
So how
Yep,
much
yep.
money you're losing here by not raising? First
Mm,
of all, you have top pair, top kicker. When you raise and gets called, it's more likely than not you still have the best hand, and then you can
mm,
get more value on the turn, and then you make the pot bigger, and then you have position. And then if he doesn't have anything, you raise, he'll just fold, and then you pick up the pot. It's 100%,
yes,
right?
yes.
Versus you just like calling him. I mean, I assume he can bet the turn and he can bet the river, and then just call. And then to that point, you're basically playing your hands. Like your hands have to beat his hands,
Yes, yes,
because
that's exactly
you have zero full
my
equity.
hands and not really my range. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
let's see what happens.
Okay, so we call. Turn is a brick. He checks,
Definitely bet.
and so yeah. So at this point, real time, I just see that the pot is $1,
Yeah.
and that SPR is like very very low,
Mhm.
and that the only bet that makes sense generally on the turn is basically bigger anyway. We're polarizing on the turn a lot in general,
Mhm.
so I just overbet and put them all in.
Uh, I wouldn't do this because the board is super dry, and then he dunk bet on the flop. What
Mm.
exactly does it have? I mean,
Right. So like if he's down betting with a 10, then
I think
like
he'll barrel if he has a
oh
10,
okay.
right?
Okay.
If he has a 10 there, if you're him,
Right.
what why don't you barrel? Like, your hand's so faced up like ace X like overcards, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he has any kind of 10, he should barrel here.
Mm.
So when he
Mm.
checks, I'll think he has like maybe like you know, pocket 7, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, or like some kind of straight draw.
Gotcha.
Cuz
Gotcha.
if he has a 10, he has to barrel this turn.
Yeah, so like it's super weird because yeah, like I was like people love donking like their top pair type hands, especially like we were saying like a couple minutes before, like you could totally be doing this with like an inferior 10.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's weird that like and so when like if he's donking with an inferior 10
right,
and then he gets called,
right.
then he's like and a lot of times, especially if they're donking and they get called anyway, they're thinking, "Oh shit." my bluff just got called. I hope that he doesn't have a better 10 or something like you know, so like this is like this recreational player level thinking.
Right.
Um,
So you jam like here, like facing this jam,
right,
like you're giving him opportunity to fold queen ten.
right,
I mean,
exactly. So he,
I'll do like a so the pow's like what, like a dollar.
yeah, and so like the pot is like $1,
You
and they only got like
you can
166.
bet like 40 cents or something, and then
So
if he
like,
calls that, he's
okay,
basically getting milked, right?
all
So
right,
the power will be like close to two,
okay,
and then he'll have like $1.20 left,
right.
which like he's never folding queen ten there on the river.
Mm,
Over betting, I I think when you get called, I just don't think it's gonna get called. That's what happened.
okay, so he ends up calling with Jack 10.
Okay, so he does have a 10, right?
Yeah, like he actually did have the inferior 10, and he just was like, "Oh well, whatever, top pair. I'm not folding. I got $1."
Right. Okay. Right. So in here, like it's not gonna make any difference when you raise the flop,
Mm.
right? But
Yeah, yeah.
you're denying his equity if he's dunk betting with like a draw,
Mm. Right.
right? Or if he have like seven or eights, is if you raise the flop, he's calling. I think he's calling the flop at least.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I need to definitely like yeah, incorporating like equity denial
Right.
is definitely something that I should
So
get in.
I think you what I'm gonna ask you to do in the next week or so is two things. First, you should fix your pre-flop ranges.
Okay.
So your pre-flop ranges should be a little tighter.
Okay.
Instead of playing a 28, 24, you should lower it to like maybe 2018, 2017, something
Okay.
like that. Okay? Because that's the right way because you can develop it into a 28, 24 player. But that's
Sure.
after you have a super polished post
Gotcha.
flop game. If you're doing so, you're doing the opposite. You're playing like a loose aggressive game, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you don't have a strong post flop game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have been uh, have been losing. So what you have to do is you have to fix your pre-flop range. You have to play a little bit tighter,
Okay.
and then post flop be more aggressive. Take initiative. Don't just
Mm.
let people take away your initiative.
Gotcha.
And I noticed that you when you face dunk bet, you almost always just flat call. Like on for example on this hand, you say you're even flat calling aces.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like facing donk bets and check, and this was actually like kind of a remnant of something that I just picked up at
Yeah.
2NL during my first when I started to beat 2NL was just because nobody bluffed at 2NL basically, and so donk bets and check raisers were very heavily weighted to value,
Hmm.
and so I could literally just flat my entire range as a bluff catch, and
Right.
like if I and whenever I played back at them, I just essentially just got the feeling that I was forcing them to narrow their range, and I just kicked out all of their bluffs, and so
Why would you think that?
well,
People like worst player they're caught with a draw out of position.
yeah, and so I mean, it's just that when the only reason why I thought that was because I did raise them, because I did raise them
Uh
all
huh.
night at two over my like my first like 20,000 hands,
Yeah.
and I just kept on getting like my post flop game was always aggressive. I was always like fighting for pots and being super aggressive and bluffing. In my red line was the only thing about my game that was winning
Mhm.
was because I was bluffing over bluffing and re-stealing pots.
Mhm.
And so then eventually I found out that like just people, were basically just donking and check raising with nut flush draws, which is with just flush draws, combo draws, and then two pair plus. And so facing a range that's essentially polarized to good draws and big hands, I would rather just call down and because if I force the issue, then I force them to just keep the top end of that range.
Are you
Um,
saying that because it has happened like recently? Like,
well,
are you sure it's gonna be the case if you play a long run? Like you always run into, you know, two pairs. minimum
If
when people
I
dunk and you raised?
um I
You might be short-term result orientated, I
yeah,
think,
that's
because
probably definitely
maybe you have been running bad or just going through like a downswing, and then you're
yeah.
just been running into stronger hands all the time. But when you have top pair, top kicker, like people are not supposed to have two pair all the time, right? So you're supposed to have the best hand way more often than not.
Sure.
So don't be short-term result orientated. Like don't focus on because your goal is not to beat this stake, right? Your goal is to move up and get to a point where poker is actually profitable. You can make like $100 per hour
Right.
instead
Right.
of doing grinding this, right? So you cannot worry about how these players are pulling different kind of moves to you because it
Mm,
doesn't matter if you play the right way. Even though they're pulling this move and you're losing, in a long run you're still winning,
sure.
right? And then that's the right way. When you start moving up and when you start playing against better players, um, they're just not gonna dunk bad that much.
Mm,
So adapting your strategy based off people playing fight and L is probably not the ideal way to improve your game. Instead of doing that, just focus on yourself, focus on playing your range, and then focus on playing a balanced strategy. And you don't have to worry about what other people are doing.
mm,
So here's the thing: when people dunk bet, right? The reason why dunk bet doesn't, like, a lot of people don't like dunk betting. Like for me, I almost never dunk bet. Like once in a blue moon, I'll dunk bet, for a reason. But like I almost never dunk bet. The reason why is because dunk bet is very hard to balance. And then when you start playing against better player, and then you start dunk betting, and then you're just gonna get raised all the time by air. So for
yeah.
example, like here you do have top pair, top kicker, right? So what
Hmm.
if you have, um, let's say, what if you have ace jack suited here? What would you do if he dunk bet?
Yeah, ace jack
You
suited,
just
probably like
fold?
ace jack of diamonds, ace jack of hearts. I mean, I'll call well, actually, you know what? Versus this specific player type, if when I think that they're out of line, um, I would be more inclined to float the flop, see if I might be able to hit one of my just pick up equity essentially, and depending on their sizing, if they stab turn again, depending on their sizing, I might actually raise them as a rescale.
Okay,
If
so do you notice the problem here? You are letting people taking initiative, so
Mhm.
you're guessing what they have instead of them guessing what you have. If he dunk bet here, and then you're raising, right? They
Mhm.
have to think you have aces, kings, ace, kings. I mean, they have to think you have overpairs. You raise under the gun, right?
Right.
And then I dunk back into you, and then you just raise me 3x. I'm gonna think you have aces, kings, and queens, and then I'll be the one making that decision whether
Mm.
I want to continue with my jack 10 or not,
Mm.
right? Versus I just bet, and then he just call. Oh, his hands is faced up. He had two overcards. I just keep barreling,
Okay.
right? And then
Yes.
so by just calling here, like you're basically guessing what he's having. You might be even scared of a set,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But if you just raised, like your range is aces, kings, and queens, right? And then what is he gonna do? Like he just three bet over the top, and then
Mm.
and then you can make a decision. I mean, let's say if you just raising on the flop and then he three bet, I will call with ace 10, and then I'll see what happened on the turn,
Mm.
and then evaluate what I want to do. Right? You have to play. You have to utilize your position when you have it, especially as initial, like the initial raiser. You have all the advantage. Like it shouldn't be the other way around.
Mm. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. You can open. Let's say you open with a9 offsuit here. A9 suited. Oh
Oh,
shit.
sorry.
It's okay.
Oops. Hold on.
There we go.
Okay. So let's just say you have a9 suited here. Sometimes you mix that in your under the gun range, right? I think
Hmm.
sometimes, right? Like a9 suited here. Let's say you have a9 of spades here, and then he dunk bet. You just fold, right? What would you do? If you're a9 of spades, you have no equity. There's nothing. Pretty much drawing dead against the 10. What would you do
Right.
here?
Right. So like eight. So ace nine.
No, no,
Ace
no.
nine.
I'm saying like 8 9.
8-9. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I'm just folding, just kind of
Right,
giving up.
right.
Yeah.
So that shows the problem that you're unbalanced, right? So when you raise under the gun, like you have certain you have your under the gun raising range, right? So A9 suited is like one of them.
Hmm.
But if you have A9 suited, he dunk bet here, and then he just raised. Like what is he gonna do?
Hmm. Yeah, he's probably just got to fold. Yeah.
Yeah, even if he has Jack 10 here, I mean he might call once, and you barrel the turn. Is it like how can he continue with Jack 10 against your range? Like you have all the aces, all
Right.
the kings, all the
Right.
queens, and he doesn't.
Right. Absolutely.
So you should play your range the same way and just take advantage. Like so the two problems play a little bit tighter, play a little bit tighter range pre-flop, and then play more aggressive as initiative.
Yeah, I think like yeah, exactly. My problem is like as you said, like I'm playing so loose pre-flop
Yeah.
that the only way for me to compensate is by like being passive and tightening up post-flop
But
against.
that's a wrong way
But
to
that's the
play though.
opposite way
That's the
to do
wrong
it.
way to play
Yeah, that's the
though.
opposite way. It's like I need to tighten up pre-flop so I can be more aggressive post-flop, not the opposite.
So
Be
so
loose.
so let me tell you what a 28-24 player in my level would do. Okay. So he'll raise. So if let's say I'm the small blind and then I dunk bet, I dunk bet, right? He's
Mhm.
gonna raise me and then I'm gonna call, right?
Yeah,
On turn, I'll check. He's gonna barrel, and then I'm gonna call, and then on river, I'll
he's gonna jam.
check. He will jam.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the right way to play as the 28-24 stats player.
Right,
But of course, then it's up to me to figure out if he's fucking with me or not, right?
right.
Of course, sometimes I'll do like a hero call with Jack 10 here, but most of the time folding.
Yeah,
So if you have a 28-24 stats, you have to follow it up. Like 28-24 stats is good to have. It's really good. Like it's a good stat for a loose aggressive player, but also you're taking higher variance. Like, you're playing a higher variance game.
yeah. I'm playing a high variance game without trying to actually do the variance and get my stack in.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's not the ideal combination. If you like to play like a more passive, like low variance game, which is the game I play, I wouldn't say my game is like low variance, but comparing to like a 28-24, I think my game is like super steady and super solid.
yeah,
So I actually rarely or never go through like a swing. It's like, I mean I did, but it's it's less swinging versus
right.
like a 28-24 players. Cause I have friends who play 28-24 stats. Their swing is like 40 buy-ins.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, so depending on the style you're playing, but at the same time when they're upswinging, it's 50 buy-in plus easily too.
Right, right.
So it's just depending on what kind of game you want to play, but just try to play a little bit more solid, like at least right now, because until you establish your post flop game, and then you're playing lower stakes, so it's gonna benefit you by playing a tighter range, so you don't get raped by the rake.
Right, right.
So
Yeah,
that's just focus on keeping the stats around like 20, 21, 18, 17, something like that, and then be more aggressive when post flop, and just play around your range. Well, I don't mean to only do that when you flop top hit, top kick. I'm saying like let's just use these hands as example. You have all the aces, kings, and jacks here. Just play a
mhm,
range. Even you have a9, just play aggressively.
right.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Cool. Hopefully I help you out. Just let me know how it goes in like a week or two, and then if you have any question, just shoot me a message.
Great, great. I really
Okay?
appreciate it, Derek.
No
Thank you very
problem. Have a good night, man.
much. You too.
Bye.
Later.